So from a change management perspective, the biggest changes I feel that are facing the motorsport industry is to maintain two things: relevance to their audiences, but also to adapt to the environmental and the sustainability challenges. I actually think generally over the last few years, motorsport's done a really impressive job in adapting. It's the nature of the business. Change management is something that comes naturally to people that work in the motorsport industry because you have to move quickly in order to be competitive. But look at the work that Formula One's done under Liberty in the last few years. You know, they've embraced the We Racers as one message. They've really focused on diversity, the challenging topics that you never would have seen in being talked about in Formula One under the old management, and that's really helped make Formula One relevant to global sponsors and reinvented the sport. On the sustainability side, the Formula One hybrid era, it probably wasn't managed that well when it was introduced in 2014, because they managed to make the conversation about the fact that these engines weren't as noisy as old Formula One engines, and that was missing the point. What Formula One had brought in was an engine that was incredibly efficient. The combination of a petrol engine with a hybrid system and an energy recovery system was really trialling technology that would then cascade into the rest of the automotive industry. And Formula One's really grasped that now. I mean, they're using sustainable fuel. They're going to achieve a net zero target very soon. But what they're also doing is when Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen wins a race now, they're doing it on half the amount of fuel to cover 200 miles that Nigel Mansell was using 25 years ago or more when he was Formula One world champion. You think about that, half the fuel to go faster, and adapt that kind of technology, that kind of pace of change into road cars, and you can really see how motorsport drives relevance across the whole road car industry. Motorsport's addressing these challenges of change management really well at the moment at all levels, whether it be at the top level of single-seater racing with Formula One, the changes that they've had there in terms of the net zero targets, but also the focus on diversity. But looking on other areas of the sport, in the World Rally Championship, it went through a difficult period a few years ago, but the hybrid cars now are not only energy efficient, they're using electric power to get between stages, but they're also really exciting, powerful monsters. They actually captivate the fans, and that has to be the key thing. Fan engagement is crucial. The technology message is important, but the technology message, it has to be sexy, it has to drive fan interest, and it has to excite. We may not be completely petrol heads in the moment, we may become electro heads, but what happens on the track has to be thrilling, whether that be the type of the car or the action on the track. In touring car racing, we're seeing pure ETCR, which becomes the World Electric Touring Car Championship. They're touring cars, the most powerful touring cars in the world. They're 100% electric, but they're over 600 horsepower, far more powerful than old DTM cars or world touring cars, and that's very much the future. But it's not only sustainable, it's also exciting. Whatever it is, from Formula One through to touring car racing through to rallying, that excitement's crucial in order to engage fans. So when I started work with the National Motorsport Academy, one of the questions that they asked was, is there a skills gap in motorsport management leadership? Well, I think there is an abundance of talent throughout the motorsport industry. There's a lot of incredible managers and leaders within the industry that could bring their skills to general management. But what we aim to do with the Business of Motorsport course is develop leaders who are skilled in business processes and management, but with a motorsport angle. And the feedback that the National Motorsport Academy had from motorsport industry leaders is that there is a gap at the senior level. And what these courses do, the Business of Motorsport courses, is create a talent pipeline. It allows people, whether they're working in the automotive or motorsport industry at the moment, or whether they're at postgraduate level, to actually learn about the business in depth, everything from promotion to governance to change management to business processes, but specifically applied to the very specific needs of the motorsport industry. It's a fast-paced industry, and therefore business needs to move at a very different pace to some other industries.